अस्सलाम वालेकुम। क्या हाल है आप लोगों के? लॉन्ग टाइम। Yes, this is the exact same question that I gave you guys. It's a reflection along the line y equals to minus x. Yeah. Okay. What else? What else? What else? What else? So I noticed someone said 180-degree clockwise. Yeah, anti-clockwise. Well, 180 degree के साथ we don't write the angle. I mean, we don't write the direction because whether you do it clockwise or anti-clockwise makes no difference. Three CIs tomorrow. How does that work? I thought you guys have two CIs. Probability? No. For paper 2, if it doesn't come in paper 1, then yeah, I'll do it for paper 2. But अभी तो नहीं करूँगा probability. English literature? Oh, okay. Oh, so that must be like what, 2 hours? 3 hours? 2 hours, I think. Any tips to control nerves right before exams? I don't know. I mean, I don't have the qualification to answer that question. Okay, this is the last stream before paper 1. Okay, that's it. Then inshallah we'll do streams for paper 2. Okay. Chale, shall we start? So what do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to start with easier questions and then take it up a notch, or do you guys want to start with difficult questions? Nope, I don't give guest papers. I don't give guest papers. बट आप लोगों को लगता है ना सिर्फ स्टूडेंट्स को टेंशन होती है पेपर्स की? नहीं, टीचर्स को भी होती है. स्पेशली इफ़ you've invested a lot in terms of effort and time in your students, then टीचर्स को भी उतनी ही टेंशन होती है जितनी स्टूडेंट्स को होती है. आपको तो चलें अपनी टेंशन होती है ना, टीचर को तो मल्टीपल स्टूडेंट्स की टेंशन होती है. So it's just that because we've gone through this phase multiple times, so we're able to control it. Okay. Okay. So now I think most of you are saying we are Sigma. क्या बात है भाई. अच्छा चलें. So I've attached my notes and these questions in the description. Okay. Let me check. मैंने description में link डाला है ना? हाँ डाला है. ठीक है. So you guys can download it from there. Yeah. All is well. चलें जी. So बिस्मिल्लाह करते हैं. Let's start. Achha, so I'm just gonna randomly solve a question, okay? If it's difficult, then great. If not, then it's okay. Nothing to worry about, okay? So here it is. It says describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle B. अब देखो, अब ये तो कोई भी देख के बता दे that this is definitely what, this is definitely translation, okay? And the reason why it's translation is because you can see that nothing's changed, okay? The shape is the same, the size is the same, everything's the same, the orientation, and that's why it's translation, okay? Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna track down the movement, okay? Like how do we move, how many units do we have to move horizontally and vertically to go from here to here, okay? All right, so let's see, 1 2 3 4 5, so that's 5 units to the left, that means -5, and then 1 2 3 4 drag. Oh, yeah, some people call this drag also, I think. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's my 1 2 3 4 5 minus 5 and 1 2 3 4 minus 5 4. Okay, so translation minus 5 and 4. Okay, if you just leave it at translation, you don't get full marks. Okay, so you gotta write down the full answer, which is minus 5 and 4. So yeah, answer 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4. Okay, good job. Now. Then it says triangle A is mapped onto triangle C by an enlargement 0 comma minus 1. No, we don't have shear and stretch. We don't. And scale factor 2. Draw triangle C. Okay, so triangle C has center 0 minus 1. So that's right here. And which triangle do we have to enlarge? We have to triangle A. A is mapped onto C by an enlargement. Okay, ab dekho. Every time you have to do enlargement, just remember to just enlarge one point. Okay. Just enlarge one point and then everything else will just take care of itself. Okay, now what do I mean by that? Here's what I mean. So notice how far away this point is from the line of, from the center of enlargement. Let me make sure कि मैंने point से लिया. Scale factor 2. Okay, so this is 3 units away. Alright. Now, if this is 3 units away, you double this. So that means the image is now going to be 6 units away. Okay, so if let's say this is P, this is where you will find P prime. Okay. Now, for the rest of the points, don't count the distance from the center. Instead, what you do is, here's what you do. You look at this length. How long is this length? This length is 2 units. Okay. This length is 2 units. That means after you enlarge it, it's going to be double of this. Why double? Because the scale factor is 2. So what's the double of 2? It is 1, 2, 3, 4. So there you go. Okay. Then what is the base of the original triangle? It's 1 unit. That means the enlarged will be double of it because the scale factor is 2. Okay, and that's it. There you go. That's your answer. Okay. So what did we have to do? We had to label it something. So we had to label it C, and there you go. We've labeled it C. Okay. So remember, in translation, someone asked me this question abhi, in translation, just remember, translation mein everything remains the same. It's like you take one triangle or any shape and you move it someplace else, then it's translation. Okay. If it's rotated or something like that, then it could be rotation. If the size hasn't changed, dekho, two things are very easy to identify. Two transformations are very easy to identify. Number one is translation. Okay. And number two is enlargement. So when you're shortlisting, no, here's something that I recommend to my students, and that is ke wait a minute. Okay. So when you're basically shortlisting and deciding what is the transformation, then what I recommend to my students is this: ke always see what it's not. Okay. First identify what it's not. Okay. So cross out the ones that you can say for sure it's not. So it's like I said, it's very easy to identify translation. It's very easy to identify enlargement. You'll always find yourself confused between reflection and rotation. And how do you distinguish between reflection and rotation? That's something we'll look into in a few minutes. Okay, but here's the answer to part C. It was a fairly easy question. So that's that. Let's move on. I don't teach in a college. I teach online entirely. सर ऑल थ्री साइड्स का क्यों नहीं लिखा? बेटा एक ही होगा, ऐसा थोड़ी है, हर पॉइंट के अलग अलग ट्रांसलेशन होंगे, एक ही होगा. ठीक है. Yeah, we'll have a namaz break at 7 inshallah. Okay. Azan abhi ho rahi hai? What city? What city are you in? All right, let's have a look at this question over here. So look at triangle A and B and tell me what is the transformation. What do you think is the transformation between A and B? It depends on the threshold, but Lahore में अजान हो रही है. Well, I'm afraid अब मैं तो कराची के हिसाब से break दूंगा. So maybe you can wait like 10 minutes. इधर भी अजान हो जाएगी. Then we can take a break together. All right, it's reflection. What else? Okay, now fine, if you say reflection, that will probably get you 1 mark, but you don't leave it there. You don't leave it at reflection, okay? You write the line of reflection also. So reflection along, it has to be a vertical line. Now, if let's say in between A and B, you're confused whether it's reflection or rotation. So I'll give you that tip right now, that how you can distinguish. So basically, when you join the 2 points, when you join 2 or more points, you'll notice that all the lines are either parallel or they're overlapping, okay? Now, if the lines are parallel or they're overlapping, like for example over here, you can see that the lines are overlapping. So that means it is definitely what? It is definitely reflection, okay? Now you need to find out the line of reflection. Now, the line of reflection has to be a line, first of all, since the image is formed horizontally across, that means the line of reflection has to be a vertical line. Okay, now here's what you can do. Just use your common sense, okay? No need to, there is a formal way of finding out the line of reflection, okay? But you don't really have to apply that everywhere. Now, notice that this is how far apart the object and the image are. We know that the line of reflection is always equidistant from the object and the image. So what's the center point going to be? This is the center point going, okay? Just like that, if you do it for this line, for this distance also, you will notice कि ये इनका center है. Then what you do is you join the 2 points and you form and you draw the line of reflection. Although you don't really have to draw it, but if you can able to identify it without drawing it, that's brilliant. Now, once you've drawn the line of reflection, notice that it's a vertical line, and it's a vertical line such that it's cutting the x-axis at -1. So what do you say? You say that x equals to -1. Okay, it's not, I noticed some of you were saying y equals to -1. Please, that's incorrect. It's x equals to -1. That's what the line of reflection is. Reflection along the line, x equals to -1. Okay, fellas? रिफ्लेक्शन में सेंटर नहीं होता बेटा, रिफ्लेक्शन में सेंटर नहीं होता. सेंटर रोटेशन में होता है और इनलार्जमेंट में होता है. इनलार्जमेंट में यू हैव अ सेंटर, रिफ्लेक्शन में यू हैव अ लाइन ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन. ओके, यू डोंट हैव the center. Okay, then it says describe fully the single transformation that maps A onto C. Okay, so what is it that maps A onto C? Let's have a look. So before you tell me what it is, tell me what do you think it's not. Before you tell me what it is, A onto C, tell me what do you think it's not. आप लोग इतने इसको जवाब दें. Okay. So basically, it's definitely not enlargement, number one, and it's definitely not translation, okay? What that means is it has to be either rotation or reflection. Okay, so let's say we're confused between rotation and reflection. Okay, so now here's what you're going to do. Join this and this, join this and this. Now, do you see that the lines are parallel? No, the lines are not parallel. Okay, that means it is definitely not reflection. It is rotation. Okay, now rotation is usually more marks than reflection because there's more stuff that you need to write. So this is reflection. Acha, one thing that you can write immediately is the angle and direction. Okay, yes, I know you have to write down the angle, direction and the center, but the angle and direction you can write immediately. Okay, so since it's A onto C, that means this is being rotated and moved over here. So if it's A onto C, that means it is 90-degree clockwise. Okay, and what can we say about the center? Okay, now finding out the center is, I know it's challenging. Okay, finding out the center can be challenging, I understand that. Okay, now there are two methods to find out the center. Okay, and they're both essentially the same. One is the perpendicular bisector method. Okay, the other is also the perpendicular bisector, but it's the perpendicular bisector where you draw the perpendicular bisector without a compass. Okay, now how many of you have you guys seen the video in which I've explained how to find out the center without making a perpendicular bisector using a compass? Okay, yeah, you're right. मैंने बेध्यानी में मैंने rotation लिख दिया. Thank you for pointing that out. It's rotation. There you go. Okay. एक गलती करने की देर है भाई. Yes, I've realized. So what's the method of doing without using tracing paper? Okay, I'm not going to explain the entire method. I have a video on it. You can check that out. Usme I've taught how to rotate without tracing paper. Okay. So basically here is how you draw the perpendicular bisector. Okay. So first of all, what you do is, yes, calculate both midpoints. Yes. Achha, tracing paper, even if the invigilator says it's not allowed, I've told you guys how you can get it through. Okay, just tell them politely that it says on the question paper it's allowed. They will allow it. Okay. Okay, anyway, so basically, let's pick 2 points that have been rotated. Okay. So here's 1 point, and after rotation, it's right over here. Okay. Now, if let's say you find out the midpoint of these 2 points, what do you get? You get this. Okay. So I'm just going to put an X over here. All right. Now, then what you do is you basically pick any object. Ab dekho, ye method, if you guys have been drawing a perpendicular bisector and that's the method that you fully understand, that you're fully aware of, then stick to that. Okay, don't learn this method. All right, but the reason why I'm doing it like this, because obviously I can't use a compass on the iPad. Okay, so that's why I'm using it. I'm going to be doing it using this method. If you're fully equipped with the other method and you have a good grip on it, then go ahead. Okay, stick to that method. So basically, once you found out the midpoint, then what you do is you take any 1 point, either the object or the image. So that means you can take this point or you can take this point, rotate it 90-degree clockwise or 90-degree anti-clockwise. Why? Because we found out 1 point on the perpendicular bisector, which is basically the center point of the object and the image. Okay, now we need another point. Okay, so if let's say you take this point right here and you rotate it 90-degree clockwise, then this is the other point that you have. Okay, now the next thing you want to do is you want to make a straight line. Now once you've made a straight line, let me erase this arrow. This is basically one perpendicular bisector. Okay, now I know for those of you who haven't done this, I doubt that you guys will be able to fully understand what I'm doing, which is why I would suggest that you stick to the method that you've been using it, or you can watch a video on this. Okay, this is perpendicular bisector number 1. Okay, now we're going to make another perpendicular bisector. All right, and how exactly are we going to do that? Let's see. So let's pick these 2 points, any other object in the image. Okay, now if you find out the midpoint of these 2 points, it's going to be right over here. You can just do that mentally. Okay, or you can just find it out formally using the formula. Okay, how you want to do it, it's up to you. Then once what you want to do is from the center or from the midpoint, rotate the object or the image 90-degree clockwise or 90-degree anti-clockwise, doesn't matter. Okay, now if let's say this is the point and this is the center, which we're rotating 90-degree anti-clockwise, so this is where it's going to be. It's going to be 1 unit up and it's going to be 2 units to the left. So here it is. Okay, now we already had 1 point on the perpendicular bisector, we needed the other, and now that we have that, so there you go, this is the other perpendicular bisector. So let's write this down, perpendicular bisector number 2. Now where exactly are the 2 perpendicular bisectors intersecting? You can see that they're intersecting at 0, 1. So that's it, center is 0, 1. And there you go, that's your answer. And I can sort of anticipate what questions you guys might have, and I'll answer them already. You can pick any 1 point, but the other point that you pick has to be its corresponding image, number 1. Okay, once you found out the midpoint, then you can pick any point, the object or the image, and rotate it 90-degree clockwise or anti-clockwise. It does not make any difference. Okay, but the midpoint is 1 point of the perpendicular bisector. After you rotate it, you get the other point of the perpendicular bisector. Then when you join the 2 points, you get the perpendicular bisector. Okay, acha, for those of you who are watching and haven't liked the stream yet, I would appreciate if you guys would like it. Would mean a lot. Okay, so that's that. Then here's part C. Part C says triangle D is the image of triangle A after an enlargement, scale factor 2 with center of enlargement 1 comma 2. Okay, now let's see. What do we have? Triangle D is the image of triangle A after enlargement, scale factor 2 with center of enlargement 1 comma 2. Okay, acha, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this up. Alright, I will erase this arrow here. Okay, and I'll erase this also. I'll let the perpendicular bisectors be. Okay, then it says triangle D is the image of triangle A, so that means now we have to enlarge triangle A over here using scale factor 2 with center of enlargement 1 comma 2. Okay, so center of enlargement is 1 comma 2, so let's use a different color for this. Let's use green. 1 comma 2, that means it's over here. Okay, now so what does that mean? If you enlarge these 3 points of a triangle, since one point is technically the center of enlargement, what's going to happen to that? Since one point is on the center of enlargement and the scale factor is 2, what will happen to it? Scale factor equals to 2 and the center of enlargement is 1 comma 2. Yes, obviously, beta. If the paper is hard, then the threshold is going to be low. Okay. Invariant. Yep, that's that is correct. Okay. So basically, here's what we're going to do now, and that is this point is not going to go anywhere. Okay. Now what you're going to do is you're going to one by one see how far away each point is from the center of enlargement. I'll use a different color. So this point you can see is 2 units away from the center of enlargement. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll double this because the scale factor is 2. So if you double this, where do you end up? This is where you end up. Okay. Then again, as I mentioned earlier, and as I have been saying, that when you have to do enlargement, just enlarge one point and don't worry about the others. Okay. So here it is. Here's the enlargement of this 90-degree point over here. Now this length, as you can see, is 1 unit. Okay, and that is before it got enlarged. When we enlarge it by scale factor 2, it's going to be double. That means it's going to be 2 units, and there you go. This triangle that you see in green is triangle C, and that's it. No, wait, not C. Acha, C nahi hai, ye D hai. Okay, khair, makes no difference. And there you go. That's your answer. Thank you, Ayan. Means a lot. Anyway, so let's do one more question and then we'll take a break for namaz. Okay? Alright, so what do you guys think about this? ये तो कोई भी देख के बता दे. What is the scale factor, number 1? And tell me what is the... Okay, but I've already given away a hint. Yep, it's enlargement. And then what's the scale factor? For the scale factor, here's what we're going to do. Pick this length of the object and pick this length of the image. Divide the two, so you have 2 upon 1. So what's 2 upon 1 equal to? 2 upon 1 is equals to 2. Okay, let's do this on the side and then we'll write our answer in a nice manner. So describe fully the enlargement. So it's in describe. Acha, wait, it already says describe fully the enlargement. Okay, brilliant. So that's why it's 2 marks. Otherwise, it's of 3 marks. So scale factor is 2. And now you need to write down the center. Okay, how do we find out the center? How do we... उसने भी कहा कि क्या मैं तकल्लुफ़ करूँ, खुद ही बता देता हूँ कि enlargement है. So now how do we find out the center? Scale factor that we have found. How do we find out the center? You connect the object and its image and you extend the line. Okay. So when you extend the line, here's what happens. This is the point of intersection that you get, which is 7, 1. Okay. And there you go. That is your center, is it? Yeah, there you go. So center 7 comma 1. That is why it's of 2 marks. Otherwise it would have been 3 marks. 1 mark for writing down the transformation and the other 2 marks for writing down the scale factor in the center. Okay. Then it says shape A is mapped onto shape C by rotation 90 degree clockwise, center 1 comma 0. Okay. Now we're given shape A and we have to rotate shape A and map it onto shape C. Achha, I'm going to clean this up now. Okay. Because I need to clear the area. So shape A, we're rotating 90 degree clockwise and the center is 1, 0. So first of all, what you want to do is you want to highlight the center. So here's the center 1 comma 0. Okay. And remember it is 90 degree clockwise. Now, if you're afraid, if you're one of those who are afraid that they'll mess up the direction, so what you can do is you can just write down these hours 12, 3, 6, 9. So you know that this is clockwise and this is anti-clockwise. Okay. Now, let's do it point by point. So let me make sure that the center is marked correctly. 1, 0. Yep, it's marked correctly. Okay. So from the center, you can see this point is 2 units up. Okay. Now rotating at 90 degree clockwise means that it's now going to be 2 units to the right. Okay. So there you go. Here's 1 point. And just like that, from the center, this is 3 units up. Rotating at 90 degree clockwise means it's going to go 3 units to the right. So that means now it's at 4 comma 0. Okay. Now for the other 2 points, you guys know I have a method of rotating shapes. I have a weird method of doing rotation, and that is using this sign. Now for those of you who are going to see it for the first time will probably freak out, but please don't. I can explain. Okay. Now, so as you can see from the center, this point is 3 units up and it's 2 units to the right. Again, for those of you who are watching this for the first time, if you guys already have a good grip on your own method, then stick to it. Okay, I'm not saying that this is the best method. It's just easier for me to teach using this. Okay. Okay. Now this is the center over here. From the center, you can see it's 3 units up and it's 2 units to the right. So let's mark this on the sign here, 3 units up and 2 units to the right. Now imagine that this thing spins. So what's 3 units up will now be 3 units to the right, and what's 2 units right will now be 2 units down. Okay. So let's do that. ये जो 3 unit up था, ये अब 3 unit right पे आ जाएगा, और ये जो 2 unit right था, ये 2 unit down आ जाएगा. Okay. So here we are. Now we've successfully rotated how many points? We've successfully rotated 3 points. Now let's rotate the other point. The only point that's missing. Okay. Now the point that's missing is 2 units. The point that we're still left with is 2 units up and it's 1 unit to the right. Okay, so that means it's 2 units up and 1 unit to the right. So if you spin this 90 degree clockwise, so what do you have? You have 2 units to the right and 1 unit down. So now this 2 units up goes 2 units to the right, and this 1 unit right goes 1 unit down. So this is what you get. There you go. And that's it. Once you've marked all the points, you join them and make a straight line. Now I will repeat that this is the method that I use. Okay. And if you already have a good grip on your own method, then my suggestion is you stick to that. Okay, so this, by the way, is C. Now here's part C. Let's complete this question and then we'll have a break. Okay. Now here's what it says. Transformation P is represented by the matrix 0, -1, 1, 0. P maps shape A onto shape D. Draw and label shape D on the grid. Okay. Now, for those of you who are completely unaware of transformation matrices, again, जाके video देख लो. उससे मैंने पूरा from scratch सिखाया कि matrix कैसे determine करते हैं. Okay. You don't even have to memorize the matrices. You can just figure them out there and then. Okay, I've been teaching this topic for I don't know how many years. Even I haven't memorized it. Okay, because I never felt the need to memorize it. You can always derive them there and then. Okay, so what you do is you always start off with the point 1001. Okay, So let's do that over here. I'm going to start with the point 1 0 0 1. So here's A, here's B. Okay, A, B ke kya coordinates hain? 1 0 0 1. All right. Now what happens if, let's see what would have happened for these 2 points to be formed. Now A, which was previously 1 0, has now become 0 minus 1. Okay, so that means A, which was previously over here, has now gone over here. So what's happened? It's become 0 minus 1. Okay, x is 0, y is minus 1. And B, which was over here, has now become minus 1 0. So what is that? It's moved over here. Okay, so what's happening over here? Now if you think about it, what's happening over here is that we have rotation 180 degrees. Okay, so A घूम के यहाँ पे आ गया, B घूम के यहाँ पे आ गया, so that means this is rotation 180 degrees. ऐसे ही है ना? हाँ, rotation 180 degrees. अच्छा, by the way, I think इसका आंसर मैंने बोला reflection था. No, it's not reflection, it's rotation. Okay. Okay. So basically, this is, yeah. No, it's not reflection. Sorry, my bad. It is rotation 180 degrees. Okay, no, it's not reflection, it's rotation 180 degrees. Okay. Acha. Then what we have to do is draw and label shape D on the grid. So what is shape D? That means हमने shape D को क्या करना है? हमने shape D को 180 degrees, shape A को D पे लाने के लिए 180 degrees rotate करना है. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to rotate shape A 180 degrees about the origin. Okay. So let's do that point by point. Ab 180 degrees rotate karna is fairly easy. So this is 1 unit to the right and it's 2 units up. Okay. So if it's 1 unit to the right and it's 2 units up, if you rotate this 180 degrees, it goes the other way. It goes 1 unit left and goes 2 units down. Okay. Now let's clean this up. Let's do it for the other point. Then let's do it for this point. This point is 2 units to the right and it's 2 units up. 2 2. इसको 180 degrees rotate कर लो. 2 to the left and 2 down. So here it is. Okay. Acha. Then let's do it for the remaining points. No, it's not reflection in the line y equals to minus x. It's reflection कैसे है ये rotation है. How is this reflection? देखो अगर रिफ्लेक्शन होती ना तो A होता है 1 0. ओहो अच्छा अच्छा you're right okay you guys are right. मैंने A और B की पोजीशन ही गलत मार्क की है. Okay, you're right. My bad fellas, my bad. Okay, I think that means I need a break. Okay, so let's do this again. Sorry, my bad. So basically here's A and here's B. Okay, now forget everything that I just said and let's start from the beginning. All right. So basically here's A, which is 1 0 and here's B, which is 0 1. Okay, my bad fellas. So basically what's happened is A has gone over here and B has gone over here. So this is definitely not rotation. किसने बोला ये rotation है? Who said it's rotation? Did I say it's rotation? Nah, probably someone else. Khair, I'm just kidding. So basically it's reflection along the line y equals to minus x. Okay, so that means what are we going to do with shape A? We're going to reflect it along the line y equals to minus x. Now how do you do that? How do you reflect up any point along the line y equals to minus x? You change the coordinates, okay, and you swap the coordinates and you change the sign. Okay, so this point right here has coordinates 1 comma 2. When you reflect it, it's going to be minus 1 minus 2. Okay, sorry, it's going to be minus 2 minus 1. So right here. Okay, and then if you look at this point is 2 2. If you reflect it, it's going to be minus 2 minus 2. So that's right here. And then if you take this point has coordinates 3 3. Again, if you reflect it, it's going to be minus 3 minus 3. Okay, and then last is this point. which has coordinates 1, 3. If you reflect it, it's going to be minus 3, minus 1. Okay, I hope everyone remembers the rules for reflection along the line y equals to minus x. If you don't, you can download the notes, okay, and you'll find it over there. So this is basically shape D, all right. Now this is shape D. No, wait a minute. This is shape D. Now you have to describe it. Achha, describe हम पहले ही कर चुके थे. So we'll write that over here. Reflection along the line y equals to minus x. There you go. That's your answer. It's not in the Dropbox folder? How come? It has to be in the Dropbox folder. Anyway. Yep, switch sign and swap coordinates. Okay, so should we take a break? Should we take a 5-minute break? 5-7-minute break? What do you guys say? Should I have time to do one more yearly paper? What's the most difficult paper in your opinion in recent years? 2018 paper 1 was fairly difficult. Okay. But I wouldn't recommend that. I wouldn't recommend that you solve past papers at this point. Not at all recommended. Okay. I would recommend that you just go over your notes and that's it. Go over your notes, do what you've solved already, and that's it. Alright, fellas, let's take a namaz break. अभी क्या टाइम हो रहा है? अभी 7:17 हो रहा है. ठीक है. So 7:17 to 7:25. That's good enough. Okay, we're back. क्या हाल है? Shall we resume? Anyway, so let's get rid of this. Let's do a few questions where we have to find out the matrix and also where we have to enlarge with negative scale factor. Okay, because I understand those kind of questions are challenging. Okay. I got an A star. Okay, good to hear that. Zurez, मई जून 2023 में पेपर दिया था आपने? वैसे, hats off to you actually. May June 2023 were one of the May June 2023 exam. No, sorry, not 2023. 2022 exam was a very tough one. So, hats off to you for getting an A star. MashaAllah. Okay, y-axis invariant. That is that used to be in a transformation. That's no more part of the syllabus. Okay, that used to be in stretch and share. Okay, in fact, not even in share, it's stretch. So that's no more part of the syllabus. So share also actually, so don't worry about that. Okay. Yeah, 2022. I know. 2023 में तो ये लोग देने वाले हैं. Khair, anyway. So shall we start? Let's see. It says draw the image of shape A after a translation with vector -4, 1. So that means this is the object which you have to translate using vector -4 and 1. Okay. So let's just do 1 point. Let's translate 1 point, and then for the others, we will just look at the length and match them and draw it as it is. So -4 basically means that it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 units to the left, and +1 means that it's going to go 1 unit up. So this is where it ends up, okay? And now if this is where it's at, what we have to do is we have to join the rest of the points and make a, what shape is this? It's a trapezium. Acha, now how am I making the rest of the points? So once we've translated 1 point, you can see that the height of this trapezium is 2 units. So height of the image also will be 2 units. The length of the base is 4 units. So that means the length of the base of the image will also be 4, and the other side, the other parallel side, in fact, is 2 units. So this will also be 2, and there you go. Now we have our trapezium drawn, and oh, Allah khair. Here we go. That's it. What do we call this? We call this, are we supposed to call it something? No, we're not supposed to call it anything. So there you go. That's it. Then it says, draw the image of shape A after enlargement with scale factor 1/2. Okay, so the thing to highlight over here is actually this, scale factor 1 -1/2. So what happens when the scale factor is negative? What will the image look like? Don't tell me the exact answer, but at least tell me what the image will look like. Will it be smaller, larger, number one? And what side is it going to be on? What side of the center is it going to be on? Yes, of course, you'll have questions where you have to find out center of rotation, of course. Osman, if you don't know basics of transformation, I would suggest I have an entire playlist of transformation where you can learn everything from scratch. Now, whether I suggest you to do that right now, I don't know. I would suggest that you just focus on what you know already. Okay. Smaller and opposite. Yep, that's correct. Opposite side per image banegi, and it's going to be smaller. Good job. Good job, boys and girls. Good job. Okay. ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन इज़ नॉट कमिंग रिपीटेडली इन लास्ट ईयर्स. बेटा ये कहाँ से लेकर आते हैं आप लोग? कौन से पास पेपर सॉल्व करें? अक्टूबर नवंबर 2021 का पेपर मैंने अभी में से पेपर 1 का क्वेश्चन निकाल के सॉल्व किया है. ये लो मई जून 2021 के पेपर में भी आ गया. सो और अभी तो आई हैवंट कंपाइल्ड मई जून 2022 एंड अक्टूबर नवंबर 2022, तो ऑफ कोर्स उसमें भी होगा. So please, that's incorrect information. Okay, so it's going to be smaller and opposite. All right, brilliant. So here's what we're going to do. Now that we know what the image is going to look like, we know exactly where we're headed. Okay, So if you look at this point over here and see how far away it is from the center of enlargement, you'll notice that it's 2 units. That means that the image of this point will not be 2 units, in fact will be 1 units, and because of the minus sign it's going to be on the opposite side. Okay, now here's my suggestion. You call this P, you call this Q, you call this R, you call this S. Okay, now what you've drawn over here is basically the image of P, so let's call it P prime. Now PQ, the length of PQ is 2 units. That means the length of the image is going to be 1 unit, and Q in the object is on the right side of P. In the image, it's going to be on the left side. Okay, so I'll repeat. PQ is 2 units. The image will be 1 unit. Okay, and Q is on the right side. In the image, it's going to be on the left side. So that means when I'm completing the shape, or when I'm marking point Q, this is the line that I'm going to draw. And here we have Q prime. Okay, now let's talk about S. So PS, the length of the object is 2 units, the length of the image is going to be 1 unit. Okay, now S, as you can see, is below P. In the image it's going to be above P, and it's going to be 1 unit above P. So there you go, this is S prime. Okay, let me label it over here, S prime. Okay, now let's talk about S and R. So SR, the object is 4 units, the image is going to be 2 units, and it's going to be on the opposite side. That means it's going to be on the left hand side instead of the right. So here we have R prime. Okay, and that's it. Now you can simply connect the other 2 points and form an image. So there you go, and complete the shape basically. And now you can erase all this. And are we supposed to label it something? No, we're not supposed to label it anything. So here's what I'll do. This is the answer to part A, so I'll write that. This is the answer to part B, so I'll write that. Achha. Then it says shape A is mapped onto shape B by the single transformation P. Okay, so what's going on between A and B? What's the transformation? How many schools do you teach? I don't. I just teach in one school. Reflection. Okay, so A onto B is reflection. Alright, so let's write that down. It is reflection. And we don't leave it just there. We don't leave it at reflection. Reflection along the x-axis. As you can see, x-axis is right at the center. So it's reflection along x-axis. Okay, or you can say y equals to 0. Okay, Talha, again, center nahi hota. So you write down the equation of the line of reflection. Okay, then it says find the matrix representing transformation P. Okay, so how do we find out the matrix that's representing this transformation? Here's what we do. Now let's say you don't have the matrix memorized. Okay, you don't have the matrices memorized, and like I said, you're not supposed to memorize them either. So here's A 1 0, and here's B 0 comma 1. Okay, now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to apply this transformation to these 2 points, and the points that I end up with at the end will be the matrix also. So here's A, here's B, and now if I apply this transformation, which is reflection along y equals to x, sorry, not y equals to x, reflection along y equals to 0 or the x-axis, then here's what happens. Nothing happens to A, it remains where it was. Okay, so it's 1 0. All right, and then what happens to B is that it moves over here and it becomes 0 minus 1. So this is your matrix, and like I said, you don't have to memorize this. This is what the answer is, and that's it. You just pick the identity matrix, or you pick the points 1 0 0 1, apply the mentioned transformation to this point, and what you end up with as a result is your matrix also. Okay, so let's do another question, shall we? Let's do another question. I'm trying to find out a good question over here. Nah, too easy, too easy. Okay, ये अच्छा सवाल है. May June 2020 paper, although it's paper 2, but it's still relevant. Yeah, in fact, wait, before we do that, let's do this question. Okay. And don't worry about this. Don't worry about part B and part, don't worry about anything that's part B and beyond. Okay. Here it is. So tell me, what's going on between A and B? What transformation is this? Number one. And number two, what is, well, and the rest of the details. Okay, it's enlargement, scale factor 2. Okay. And I think it'll be virtually difficult for, I mean, it'll be difficult for you guys to virtually determine the center. If you can, that's brilliant. But yeah, you're right. Enlargement, acha, scale factor 2. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about the scale factor 2? Minus 2, yep. So it's enlargement, acha. So I made the question slightly more difficult for you guys. The question had already told that it's enlargement, but the scale factor has to be minus 2. Why minus 2? Because you can see that it's been 180 degrees rotated, and if it's 180 degrees rotated, that means it is going to be minus. Okay, now what do? We find out the center. Now for the center, you can pick 2 points and join them, and there you go. The center is 0, 2. Okay, there you go. All right, let's do this question. Another question of enlargement. Okay. So this says the diagram shows triangle A. Triangle A is mapped onto triangle B by an enlargement. The enlargement has center 3, 3 and scale factor minus 2. Okay, so 3, 3 is the center and the scale factor is minus 2. Okay, so this will be a bit tricky. Again, what I'll do is I just have to worry about applying enlargement to 1 point. Okay, I just have to worry about taking the taking enlargement of 1 point. That's it. Everything else will take care of itself. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I will first enlarge point P with scale factor minus 2. Now while I'm doing that, I want you guys to tell me what will the image look like. Will the image be larger, smaller, and what else about the image? Mustafa, I have a video on it. I would suggest you watch that video. Usse clear ho jayega. Okay. Inverted larger. Yep, that's correct. No, not smaller. It's going to be larger and 180 degrees rotated. Okay, perfect. So let's apply enlargement to this point. And what's the scale factor? The scale factor is minus 2. That means now this 1 unit right will now move 2 units to the left. And what was 1 unit up will now move 2 units down. Okay, so there you go. Here is P prime. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this up. Okay, nothing to worry about what the center is. That's it. Everything else, like I said, will take care of itself. Okay. Now PQ, what's the length of PQ? It's 2 units. The length of the image will be 4, but since it's minus 2, that means Q will not be below P. In fact, it will be above P. So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so here we have Q prime. Now let's talk about R. QR is 3 units. Now it's going to be 6, and it's not going to be on the left-hand side anymore. In fact, it's going to be on the right-hand side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there you go. Here's point R, and then you can join P and R, and your triangle is ready. That's it. Job done. Okay, now I seem to be running out of questions. I mean, questions to both them, but like challenging questions. Acha, hang on. Let me do a question from paper 2. Now, I know you guys will probably say that we have paper 1 tomorrow. Why are we doing questions from paper 2? Well, reason is that you won't see any difference between paper 1 and paper 2 questions as far as transformation is concerned. So for a couple of topics, you would barely notice whether it's paper 1 or paper 2. One is transformation. The other is vectors. in some cases probability also, and even kinematics. Okay, fellas, we have a nice question coming your way. Okay, here we go. Kinematics one. Okay, I'll tell Sir Zain that you said that. Here, anyway. So now here's a question. This is from May June 2018, paper 2, variant 1. And it says triangle A is mapped onto triangle B by a single transformation K. Find the matrix representing K. Okay. So first of all, before you can find out the matrix, you have to determine what's going on between A and K. Okay. So tell me, what is going on between A and K? What do you think? Usman beta, I'm afraid, but I'm not going to provide an overview right now. Okay. I suggest you go over the playlist that I have of transformation. Okay. You'll find more than an overview from it, inshallah. So this is rotation. All right. Yeah, this is rotation. That's correct. Okay. So this is rotation, but we don't leave it there, of course. Acha, also remember one thing. If the question is asking you to find out if the question is asking you to determine the matrix also, okay, that means that the center has to be origin. Okay, whatever matrices that we have, whatever matrix transformation that we have, or whatever matrices that we have, in all the cases the center is the origin. Okay, so A onto B. So what you can do is you can just keep track of one point. So here's the 90-degree point, and you can see this is where it has moved. So that means this is definitely rotation, and it is 90-degree A onto B, na? So first of all, it's rotation. Let's write. Oh, this is not what the question is asking for. Okay, this we're doing for ourselves. It's rotation. It's definitely 90 degrees, but is it clockwise or anti-clockwise? Okay, so if you find yourself confused between clockwise and anti-clockwise, then here's my suggestion. You write down the hours. So 12, 3, 6, 9, and we're going from 12 to 9. This is the direction in which we're going. So that means it's definitely anti-clockwise. So rotation 90-degree, anti-clockwise. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to determine the matrix. And notice I said determine the matrix, not write down the matrix. Okay, so I'm assuming you don't have the matrices memorized, which is brilliant. You're not supposed to memorize them at all. So here's A and here's B, 0 comma 1. Okay, so let's write this 1 0 0 1. Okay, now what happens if I rotate these 2 points 90-degree anti-clockwise? Wherever these 2 points land will be the coordinates of A prime and B prime, and that will also be my matrix. Okay, so if I rotate A 90-degree anti-clockwise, so A moves in place of B, all right, and A becomes 0 1, and if I rotate B 90-degree anti-clockwise, B moves over here and B becomes minus 1 0. So that means these are the rotated coordinates, and not only that, not only are they the rotated points, they're also basically forming the matrix that we have to write down over here. Okay, so for 2 marks, this may seem like a lot of working, but you know, it is what it is. Okay. Khurram, I have a video on transformation matrices. Please check it out. Okay, so what do you guys think? For the first time, I feel good about not memorize something. चलें अच्छी बात है. Anyway, चलें आगे चलें. I mean, triangle B is mapped onto triangle C by a reflection in the y-axis. Isn't it clockwise? Nope, it's not clockwise. It's A onto B. A onto B is not clockwise. A onto B is anti-clockwise. ठीक है, घड़ी कैसे चलती है? घड़ी ऐसे चलती है. ये कैसे चल रहा है? ये ऐसे चल रहा है. So it's definitely anti-clockwise. Okay. Alright, now triangle B is mapped onto triangle C by reflection in the y-axis. On the diagram, draw triangle C. Triangle B is mapped onto triangle C. Achha, let's clean this up. Triangle B needs to be reflected in the y-axis. Okay, so here is the line of reflection. Now let's reflect triangle B along the y-axis. Alright, so if I reflect triangle B on the y-axis, let's see what do we have. So this is 2 units away from the line of reflection. That means it's going to be 2 units on the other side. So you can do it like this, or if you have the cases memorized, I would suggest you use that. Okay? I hope you guys have the cases memorized, and that's what you plan on applying in the exam. So this point before you reflect it has coordinates -4, -3. What happens once you've reflected it? What happens if you're reflecting along the y-axis? Remember, it's the sign of the x coordinate that changes. And this point, which has coordinates -2, -4, if you reflect it along the y-axis, the sign of the x coordinate changes, and this is what you have. There you go. That's it. That's your answer. Okay. Now, next thing that you have to do is this. Abhi sawal khatam nahi hua, by the way. Triangle A is mapped onto triangle C by the single transformation L. Describe fully the single transformation. Okay, A onto C. What do you think is going on? What do you think is going on between A and C? पेपर पूरा करना होता है या ऑप्शंस होते हैं? बेटा पेपर ही देने का ऑप्शन है, बल्कि आपने पेपर सेंटर में जाके देना है या आपने उसकी होम डिलीवरी करानी है, ये भी ऑप्शन है. ठीक है, आप उनको फ़ोन करके बोल दीजिएगा कि वो घर पे डिलीवर कर दें. ठीक है, आप घर पे आराम से बैठ के सॉल्व करें. अगर मूड हो तो सबमिट कर दीजिएगा, एंड दैट्स इट. ओके. It's reflection. Yep, it's reflection. Good job. Y equals to x. Yeah, it's y equals to x. So again, if you find yourself confused between reflection and rotation, remember what I said earlier. Just join the points, see what happens, see the lines that you get are parallel. That means it's definitely reflection. Whoops, see, it's definitely reflection. Okay. Why? Because the lines are parallel. All right. Then, if the line if the lines are parallel and it's reflection, then okay, I lost my chain of thoughts. What was I saying? Okay, you have to describe it. Okay. So it's reflection. Now we need to determine what the line of reflection is. So we look at the 2 points. So A is -3, 2. After it got reflected, it turned out to be 2, -3. Okay, so let's see what's going on. If you're able to identify a pattern immediately, that's great. If not, then just do a bit of trial and error. -3, 4, after you reflect it, becomes 4, -3. So by now I'm sure you have identified a pattern, and you can see that the coordinates are swapping, and because the coordinates are swapping, that means it is reflection, number 1. Number 2, it's reflection along the line y equals to x. So reflection along the line y equals to x. Okay. Sir, rotation के question में center किस तरह निकालते हैं? You make a perpendicular bisector. Okay. You make a perpendicular bisector. Now here's part D. Part D says rectangle R is mapped onto rectangle S by a translation by the vector -2, 3. Now what happens because of this -2? It moves 2 units left. Okay, and what happens because of this 3? It moves 3 units up. Okay, so 2 units left and 3 units up. So let's pick any one point. Let's pick this point. Let's translate this. So 2 units left means over here, 3 units up means over here. And that's it. If you've done one point, then you don't have to worry about the other points. So all you got to do is just make the shape of the exact same size. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And there you go. Here is your translated rectangle. Are we supposed to label it something? Yeah, we're supposed to label it S. So there you go. That's it. One, two. Okay. 3 units super translate. Kanata, I just realized. Here, no big deal. There you go. That's it. It was minus 2, 3, so 2 units to the left and 3 units up. Now this is correct. Okay. Acha. There is one last question that I want you guys to solve. And that is... Nope, not this. Yeah, that's this question. This is like... You know how we did the mother of all coordinate geometry questions? This, I think. Especially this part. This part is like the mother of all transformation questions. This part. Okay. Okay, go ahead. This is paper 2, I know, but it still revolves around the same concept. Difficulty level of the paper. I can't say anything about the difficulty level of the paper. But you don't, these are things you can't control, okay? So if there's something you can't control, don't worry about it, okay? Focus on the stuff that you can control. Okay, A on to B is definitely a reflection, okay? Now, please don't get carried away and think it's the x-axis, because the x-axis is not at the center, okay? The x-axis is slightly closer to the image than the object. So this is, as you can see, a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 units away. So what's going to be half of 6? That's 3. So that means this is where the line of reflection is going to be. And it's going to be a horizontal line. It's a no-brainer that the line of reflection is going to be horizontal. Okay. So now if you have a horizontal line which is cutting the y-axis at -1, so that means the equation would be y equals to -1. Reflection along the line y equals to -1. Okay. Now, then you have part B, which says triangle A is mapped onto triangle C by the single transformation H. Find the matrix representing H. Okay. So do this. अच्छा आप लोग एक काम करें. Do this question. I'm gonna be back in exactly 2 minutes. Okay. So let me see if the question is visible to you guys. Yeah, it is. Okay. So solve this. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay, क्या progress है? So what's the question? C, A mapped onto C. Okay. Now because you have to find the matrix of this, that means if it's rotation, the center has to be origin, and it has to be rotation. Okay. Why is that? How do I know that it's rotation? Because of this. If you join the points, you'll notice that their lines are not parallel. The lines are anything but parallel, in fact. So that means it's definitely rotation. Okay. So before we determine what the matrix is, let's determine what the transformation is. Okay. So it's rotation. Then it's definitely 90 degrees. Okay. So if you can see here that the line that was previously vertical is now horizontal. So it's definitely 90 degrees. So let's write that down, 90 degrees. Okay. Then we have to write down the center. Okay, the center is what? The center is origin. Acha. Not only that, we also have to determine the direction. Now since it's A onto C, A onto C means that it's definitely anti-clockwise. Okay, A onto C means that it's definitely 90-degree anti-clockwise. Okay, I hope that is clear to everyone that it's 90-degree anti-clockwise. Now once you've determined what transformation it is that we're talking about, the next thing that you have to do is you have to determine the matrix. Okay, now how can I determine the matrix over here? Let's see. Here's how I can determine the matrix. So again we will go back to the identity matrix 1001. Okay, और उनको हम 90 degree anti-clockwise rotate करेंगे. Okay, so now here we have 1001. Okay, here's A, here's B. Now if you rotate A 90 degree anti-clockwise, it moves in the place of B. That means it becomes 01. If you rotate B 90 degree anti-clockwise, it moves on the x-axis, so it's -1 and 0. So there you go. That's your answer. Okay. Acha. Then there's part C. Now part C is a 3-mark question. Okay, and the reason why I wanted to do this question with you guys is because it's not your regular question. It's a slightly challenging question. Okay, so it says here, transformation M is a reflection in the line x equals to 2. Transformation R is a rotation 180 degrees about 0, 0. Triangle A is mapped onto triangle D such that RMA equals to T. Okay, now who can explain to me that what exactly is going on in the question? What does it mean by this? Beta, I think someone's answered the question already. आपको थोड़ा common sense चाहिए. And what exactly does that mean? I mean, is it the first time you're doing anything that's related to math? अभी तक आपने math में कौन से instruments use किए मुझे बताएं. आपने कौन से instruments math में use किए? Have you used a shovel? No, right? So whatever instruments that you've used so far, that's what you have to take. Okay, pencil, scale, razor, sharpener, ruler, scale, ruler, yeah, compass. What else? Protractor. Is that? Okay, that was funny. Anyway, okay. So basically, what we have to do is this. A is the shape. Now the question is, what do we apply first and what do we apply second? Please, calculator na leke chale jana. Okay, it's paper 1. Now notice what is closer to A. What's closer to A is M, so that's what we apply first. Okay, and that means what are we going to do to A first? We're going to reflect it along the line x equals to 2. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to take A, we're going to reflect it along the line x equals to 2, and then let's see what happens. So I'm going to clean this up now. Okay, and I'm going to reflect A along the line x equals to 2. Now before I do that, I will draw the line x equals to 2, which is going to be a vertical line. Okay, so this point moves over here, this point here moves over here, this point here moves over here. Okay, so now we have, so this is like, you can say, the transitionary triangle. Okay, this is not the final answer, but this is the triangle on which we're going to apply transformation R. Okay, now this is the second transformation. Now what's the second transformation? The second transformation is R, and what exactly is R representing? R is a rotation 180 degrees about 0, 0. So that means I will apply R onto the triangle A after M has been applied. That means I will apply R on the triangle which has been reflected along the line x equals to 2. Okay, I'll repeat. R will be applied on triangle A after it has been reflected along the line x equals to 2. So do we know what the triangle looks like after it's reflected along the line x equals to 2? Yes, we do. So from the center, if this is 2 units up, you rotate it 180 degrees, it goes 2 units down. And then this point here, this is from the center 1 unit to the right and 2 units up, rotate it 180 degrees, it's going to be 1 unit to the left and 2 units down. So there you go. And now again from the center, 1 unit to the right, 5 units up, so 1 unit to the left, 5 units down. So this is what you get. Again, let's clean this up. Okay. And draw your image. Okay. Once you draw the image, then, wait a minute. I think I've done something wrong. Have I done something wrong? Oh, yeah. Okay, yep. So basically, jaldi mein, I didn't reflect it correctly. So the reflection of this point is going to be over here. Okay, my bad. This point was supposed to be over here. Okay, and after you reflect it, it's going to be over here. All right. That means I need to rotate it, not all over again, but yeah, partially. So 2 points we can rotate very easily. This is 2 units up. If you rotate it 180 degrees, it's going to go 2 units down. So let me turn this green. Okay. And now, no, in fact, wait, red is fine. Yeah. What I'm going to do now is the final triangle I'll draw in green. Okay. So let's rotate the points. This is 2 units up. If you rotate it, it goes 2 units down. So here it is. And then this point is 5 units up. If you rotate it, it goes 5 units down. So it's going to be over here. And then this point right here is 1 unit to the right and 2 units up. So it's going to be 1 unit to the left and 2 units down. So it's right here. Okay. Now simple rotation hai, that's why I rushed through it. And now when you form the image, this is what you get. After the image is constructed, this is what you get. And this is basically triangle T. And that's what the question asked you to do. The question asked you to draw and label triangle D. So this is triangle D. Now, if you want, I know you guys are probably thinking that do we leave this as it is? Well, you can. Okay, it's nothing to worry about. And if you want to erase it, that's also fine. I would suggest that you leave it because that shows some evidence of working and it's a 3-mark question. So it's a good idea to show the working. Okay. Now, okay, so Chana, that's it. I am going to leave you guys over here, but I will be there in spirit with you guys, inshallah, when you're doing the exam. And best of luck. Don't stress too much about what the difficulty level of the paper is going to be, what the threshold is going to be. Okay. I'll post a video. Abhi thodi der mein video aa jayegi. Just watch that. Just last minute tips and tricks and like a good luck message. And that's it. Rough work, where do you do your rough work? Rough work, you do it on the extra sheet that's given. Okay, not the extra sheet, but like, you know, at the end of the paper, you have like a blank page. You can do your rough work over there. But if that work is relevant, if you think that is something that is relevant to getting, if you think that working is relevant for a specific part, then make sure you show your working. Okay. Sir, I watched your playlist, but my concepts regarding reflection. But how is that even possible कि आपने मेरी playlist इतने जल्दी देख ली? Yep, you guys are in my prayers. Okay. Make sure that you guys offer your daily prayers as well. Make sure that you guys offer Fajr prayer before you go for the exam. Okay, needless to say. And yeah, that's it. So take care, everyone. Good luck to you. Let me know how the exam goes. And Allah Hafiz.